Hey, I'm gonna stop. I'm sorry I call you about 4 or 5 times a day, so I won't do it no more. Oh, hey guys, hey, we're live, and you know what
Hi,
that,
Dean. How you doing? It's good to see you again, Dean. Hi, guys. Sit down.
that means it's showtime. And the question we have today on the poll is, can you see the poll on your side?
Yes, it is. I got it.
It says, is Watchtower pro illegal immigration?
I voted.
Oh, you already voted. So, in light of what's happening today, is Watchtower pro illegal immigration? Go ahead, Jesse.
Well, we want to know, Gilbert,
Mm-hmm.
David Wickland in classic Jehovah's Witness.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't vote yes or no. Guess what he voted?
What?
Yo. Just
Yo.
classic, politically neutral. I'm telling you, it's in the DNA of the Jehovah's Witnesses. But we're trying to see if they're really neutral or not.
Well, we have breaking pictures coming in from the internet of the Jehovah's Witnesses on the scene of the LA riots. And you can see right there, jw.org, the police are there, and they're talking to the protesters saying, wait on Jehovah. You see that? Wait on Jehovah. And there's a brother, showing the, the wait on Jehovah sign during the protest. But would you believe something, Jesse, that we have an even better picture than that? And let me get back here and I'll share screen. Here it is. Full screen. Here we have Jehovah's Witness, and there's an elder that came in to the right next to the Mexican flag. Why he's so mad, I don't know. And let's see the next picture. The Jehovah's Witness elder is wearing a swastika on his right hand.
Gilbert, I think these are security from the district convention.
Oh. So we got the Jehovah's Witnesses out there in the carts during the riots.
And that there's brothers that are bodyguards for the witnesses out there.
And what's up with that bucket of paint? So
they're going to spray paint the walls.
That's true. Now, we also have, it gets cold sometimes in Southern California at nighttime. So we have some sister out there. She's out there preaching the gospel. Leave the LA riots in Jehovah's hands.
Gilbert, these sisters are some of the best cart witnessers in the world. Neither sleet nor snow will keep the Jehovah's Witnesses from the preaching work.
That's right. So now you say, Gilbert, well, we are being serious because you think oh, Gilbert, that is so stupid. No, it is not only stupid, it's true. And I'm going to show you. Let me see if I have it here. Okay, yeah, I have it right here. And I want to show you guys just a couple of, and we're going to tie it all together, that what we just showed you was actually 100% true. You ready? Check this out. ABC News, Channel 7.
But at a certain point, some of the demonstrators got very close to the property. In fact, some of them went onto the property, started tagging the building, started banging. Demonstrations had been going on right outside the Federal Detention Center. Most of those demonstrators were very peaceful. They were chanting, they were shouting. People were driving by, honking their horns. And again, they were expressing their anger about the detention of so many immigrants at the Federal Center.
So we have ABC News telling us, hey, what we have here is mostly peaceful protest, right? We have mostly peaceful protest. And this is what you have right here. Mostly peaceful protest. We all seen this video. Mexican flag is running by. So what you're not, we're just going to add one more to wrap it all up. How Jesse and I were not out. We were showing you the truth earlier with those videos of Jehovah's Witnesses street preaching. because this this has now become the reality. This used to be just comedy, but now the truth is stranger than fiction.
Excuse me. All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Nothing to see here. Please.
And that is exactly what we're seeing.
Go back. Go back a few seconds. Go back a few seconds. Look.
Where?
It went right before Leslie Newsom starts talking. It's the teen student driver.
Oh, yeah, she's yeah, that's a teen student driver then. Yeah, that was funny. So, oh, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wasn't sharing screen. So that's where we're at, Jesse. We're at a point where the news media is saying everything's peaceful here. There's nothing
Gilbert,
wrong.
can you go back? Can you go back to that lady where the guys were heckling and harassing the news reporter? There's a subliminal message in there.
Yeah.
In the video where she's being harassed. Okay, can you pause it?
At a certain point.
Well, Gilbert, I know you're in charge, so I don't want to see. Hey, Gilbert, do you think you could pause it? Because you're in charge, right? You shouldn't take orders from me. So you think? How would you say it, Jesse? You want me to pause it?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at the colors of the Channel 7. They're just as identical to Watchtower, blue and white. To jw.org.
Correct.
Got very close to the property. In fact, some of them
and then look
went
at
onto the
look
property,
at the kind of guy that comes out.
tagging the building, started banging
Guy
on
with the bulldog.
fences, and shortly after
Ross.
that happened,
Oh,
the
see,
agents
that's a
started
pit
buying
bull.
off.
Yeah. With the pit bull. Yeah. So, but Jesse, check this out. I wanted to say why this is so important. Let me see if this is why this is so important. And where Watchtower is never going to get this right. But here it is. Oh no, I think we already shared that one. I'm going to share the what happens is they're literally destroying cars, and this is the one. It's in the Gateway Pundit, and I'm going to hit share screen. The Gateway Pundit is reporting. Check this out.
Holding the flag, jumping up on the hood of the car.
Now, if you see the videos, this is not an isolated incident. It's all over. It is all over the riots. And if you go to here, it says militarysaga.com. In World War II, the raising of the American flag on Iwo Jima emerged as an iconic moment. This act not only signified victory, but also inspired patriotism and morale across the United States. Flags serve as a powerful symbol of resilience and determination during this tumultuous period. So when you look at what's happening in Los Angeles right now with the Mexican flags, and you compare it to this, do you see the difference? Can you see the difference? I don't know if you can see it. You see that, Jesse? So you have the Iwo Jima flag, and it inspired confidence in the American people. It also says, "Hey, we are in charge now. We've taken over this island." You see that now in LA, and all of these people running around with the Mexican flag. The very first thing that Donald Trump should do is send the military and all of the people that are holding the flags should be arrested. Should be arrested.
And Congress, or Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass, the California legislator, all the state legislators should make a new law that flying a foreign flag on American soil during a time of protest would be considered an act of war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, they should be targeted. So you could actually send like
it
you
is
could
an
target
act of
the guy
war.
the guy that's holding the flag, the Mexican flag. Like 50 armed guards attack that one guy. It's just we're gonna get this one guy, and you make example out of everybody who tries to have that flag, and saying that we have victory over you, we've conquered you.
Gilbert, I've been telling you about a year now, and everywhere I go, on all the Rick Fearon show, and I know I'm show prep for you, so everything I tell you, it takes you about a year to catch on, and Ruby and Jimmy and everybody else. But I tell them everything that we're arguing in the Jehovah's Witness community, it's all irrelevant. I mean, it's good and everything, but this is the most consequential subject, more important than Norway. Well, the Watchtower and no. Your silence, your political neutrality. The war outside raging will soon shake your windows and rattle your walls. These guys want to own the desert Southwest. This is Reconquista. Everybody better wake up. In ancient Athens, it was illegal to not have an opinion on the great controversies of the day. John F. Kennedy used to teach us that when he was president. And so what happens today? Everybody wants to know about football. Everybody wants to know about basketball. Caitlin Clark. They want to know the latest about that. No, your country is being transformed. And here's the thing. We're bringing it with the Jehovah's Witnesses with humor. They're thinking that, they're going to wait on Jehovah. We're going to be politically neutral when their land is being taken from them. And so, yeah, we use humor like those photos that you were saying. But by their silence, we're saying that they're pro-illegal immigration. By their silence, they don't want to talk about it. For example, they always preach during COVID, give the things to God, and the things to Caesar. But do you see them going to the congregations and saying, hey, brothers, if you're here illegally, go back and fix your immigration status? You don't see the Jehovah's Witness helping at all. When it was time for the COVID jab, they were the first in line. Hey, brother, make sure you get your jab. Hey, brother, make sure you social distance. Hey, brother, make sure you wear the mask. Make sure you're compliant with all the federal regulations of the COVID. But when we have the most consequential battle in our land right now, in 2025, the immigration, Jehovah is silent. That's why we're saying by their silence, they're complicit. And we use humor, these photos.
And so, yeah, Watchtower is responsible for this, because I tell you that a lot of people that are out there protesting, they have a family member that's a Jehovah's Witness. They've been infected with this thing about political neutrality, not getting involved in politics, and now the chickens have come home to roost. This thing about the Jehovah's Witnesses not saluting the flag at school, well, now look what happens. Look at what you got. These people actually hate their country and are willing to burn down cars that have nothing to do with the immigration, have nothing to do with the government. One of them was a Waymo car. It's just a self-driving taxi. And they took it out on a company that has nothing to do with immigration. And it just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And then what Jehovah's Witnesses will not talk about is that the George Soros types are funding this operation. I was talking to PJ, and PJ was saying how buses are busing in people into these riot centers. And Jesse, like the bus schedule will have like one bus every 30 minutes, every 20 minutes, you get a bus working on a route. But when you have 10 buses coming every 30 minutes, and they're all taking you down, they're all taking you to the riot area, that's done by design. And so one of the problems that we have, in my opinion, is that the Bible's real clear on this. The reason these riots are allowed to happen is because swift justice is not brought upon these lawbreakers. And I think, according to the news today, 500 more military people are going to be deployed tonight. So Donald Trump understands this, that you cannot allow this lawlessness. And going with the Jehovah's Witness teaching, why are the religions not condemning this lawless behavior?
Well, you could the case could be made that the Jehovah's Witness is a sanctuary religion.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of sanctuary state, sanctuary city?
Mm-hmm.
California is a sanctuary state. Los Angeles is a sanctuary city. So naturally, the Jehovah's Witnesses follow suit, and they're a sanctuary religion.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, Gilbert.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you hear all the Jehovah's Witness apostates always saying that the Jehovah's Witnesses are shrinking?
Yeah.
I would bet you $1 million that they're not shrinking in LA.
Uh-uh.
It's a big time Mexican city, and it's a big time Jehovah's Witness city.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. Now, with the great presence of Jehovah in Los Angeles, you think that it would be God's presence there, and there would be a little bit of peace in that city.
Mm-hmm.
It is a big time Jehovah's Witness city, LA.
So
and
here,
I bet you it's not shrinking.
so David is saying, like, for example, this picture, the Jehovah's Witness argument is that they are no part of the world. And they're out there street preaching saying, leave it in Jehovah's hands. This is exactly why we have the problems that we do today.
Hey, Gilbert, I love that guy's bullhorn.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I like this comment. I guess Donald Trump won't be doing a Ronald Reagan amnesty 86 bill anytime soon. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I don't know. It might.
Okay. But not after what's happening today.
Well, I think it might. It might. You got to remember, Donald Trump is smarter than everybody here, times 10. He's always a step ahead of everybody. So I wouldn't bet against him.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Gilbert, what do you think? What verse do you think that guy, that Jehovah's Witness has? You think he's in Matthew or?
Daniel 2:44, that God's setting up a government. Yeah.
You know what, Gilbert? I think you're right, because look, normally Matthew is in the third part of the Bible, huh? So
Correct.
that's around Daniel. So they're
Correct.
still stuck on Daniel. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then what watchtowers are they showing?
I don't know. But we have 100% is Watchtower pro illegal immigration on the poll. 100% of the people say that yes.
Okay.
Watchtower is responsible for this, Jesse, in a way. Not 100%, but they have added to this.
They've contributed. Yeah.
They've contributed. Mm-hmm. Because they have taught people to hate their country. 4th of July is coming here in a couple of weeks. The Jehovah's Witnesses hate the 4th of July.
Father's Day is coming up. Flag Day is coming up. Jehovah's Witnesses don't encourage none of that. But they have illegal immigrants in their congregation. They don't ask them to fix the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
They don't say, hey, brothers, you know what? Fix your status. Give the Caesar to the Caesar, the things to God to God. But Dr. Fauci comes out with the new yabby yabby, and they're the first in line. Hey, Caesar said so. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But that guy's wearing a bike mask, huh? Yeah. Hey, why is the Jehovah's Witness bodyguard? Why does he got a Nazi swastika on his arm? Man, he's a good bodyguard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
hey, this is what I don't understand. Can you go back to that picture? Are the cops holding up the Mexican flag, or is it a protester?
I don't know, but let's look at a real one here from Fox TV. And there's another guy. So there's a guy waving the Mexican flag on top of Waymo.
What does that say? The pink letters. Love?
I don't know. They tagged it. Yeah. It's a Waymo taxi.
Oh.
And the guy wants to look. He's raising his Mexican flag. Oh. Yeah. So these people are saying we've conquered America. They're taking a selfie. We conquered America. And this is stupid because they're going to post it and share it on their social media, and they're going to identify themselves. So I wanted to show you this because this is what our channel is all about. The world is going through major changes right now. LA, right? The bombing right now in Ukraine as we speak. And then this Watchtower decides to say this. JW.org. Their silence is killer. So when we put down in the poll is Watchtower, right, pro illegal immigration, and after you see what's happening in LA, and you go to jw.org to see what's happening in the news, this is what you get.
Is that Bruce Springsteen?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Will war ever end? And then check this out. I can just look at that. Will war ever end? This
Wait.
is no.
Let's read a little bit. Let's read a little.
No, what do you mean read a little bit? This is all they wrote. Will war ever end? And then they write, that's all they write.
Wait, I want to see if they quote the United Nations.
Yeah.
They quote peace.
And vendetta. ACLED. I bet you ACLED is a...
ACLED. Does anybody know what ACLED is? It's the United Nations Peace Research in Oslo. Oslo. Hey, man. Watchtower is always quoting those Euro trash, huh?
Yeah. Wow. And what did I say? Look at that. What did I say?
Daniel.
What did I say?
Yeah,
Daniel,
that picture. That guy was quoting. Yeah. Hey, Gilbert, you know what? You're such a profound Bible scholar. You know how Mike always says that he's a Bible scholar? You're such a profound Bible scholar that just by looking at that picture of that elder talking in the Bible, you knew what verse he was talking about.
I know, yeah.
Just by the number of papers. That's good.
So if you're a Jehovah's Witness, this is who's leading you. The world is going through monumental changes, and this is what they have to offer. Jehovah's organization here on earth is setting you up for failure.
Now, Gilbert, all these pictures, where'd you find? Because you called me a lot last night, like about yesterday. How many times you call me? About 10? Don't call me so much. But anyway, so where did you find time to find all these pictures?
In between the times I called you.
Oh. But then JP called you, PJ.
PJ called me, yeah.
And then you called Rick Fearon, and you talked to him for hours.
Yeah, I was on the Rick Fearon show last night.
And then after the Rick Fearon, you and him were communicating in the after party.
That's right.
So where did you have time to do all this homework? Pretty good. That's very good research. Real good research. Hey, Gilbert, one more question on that, on the sense of it could be a stretch that we're saying that they're responsible. They're not. By any stretch of the imagination will we blame JW.org for what's happening in LA. But what you and I are saying is in their little corner of the world, they're complicit. They're helping out because they teach people not to get involved, not to have any civic or self-pride. And so when their city got invaded by illegal immigrants, they could have done something at home in their congregations and say, guys, we won't participate in it. But they didn't. Hey, what does JW Suicide say? The Rick Fearon conversation with everyone yesterday was very good. Yeah, but try not to give Gilbert too many questions. If you're going to ask the GG for GB questions, make sure you address them to me. I will address them to the governing body because I'm the helper.
I don't like to be asked a lot of questions because
Gilbert,
I feel like I'm interrogated.
Just for the sake of, can you clarify that with the comment section? What is the chain of command here for questioning?
Well, this is what happens is when I get asked a lot of questions, I feel like I get deja vu. You know, when the police ask me all those questions, you know, when they broke into my house and stuff, and they were
not only that, but billing and invoicing.
Yeah, all that too. So, like, if you ask me a lot of questions, I have this knee-jerk reaction to bill you after like the second question.
Like, for instance, Gary Kunkel, when you build him into oblivion, and he's been broke ever since.
Yeah,
you send him into a accounts receivable nightmare.
Yeah, he was asking me too many questions.
Yeah.
But hey, Jesse, so that's where we're at right now. The JWs have nothing to offer on this subject. So even if the Jehovah's Witnesses were cart witnessing tomorrow, what do they have? What relief can they bring the people on what's happening with the riots? Nothing. They have nothing to offer. Nothing substantive.
That's a great question. Okay, I was thinking about that. This is what we're gonna probably. They're probably the elders are meeting right now. You know how Donald Trump and his men went to Camp David? They're retreating and they're just going over everything. The Jehovah's Witnesses in LA, I would bet anything that the elders are having a special meeting. And they're going over not how they're going to make LA better, but how they're going to lead from behind. They're going to tell them, hey, let's suspend the cart witnessing. Let's be careful out there. Let's not do any cart witnessing in Los Angeles. They're going to do negative. They're not going to do anything to elevate the human or discord or controversy in LA. They're going to be of no consequence. I think you could even confuse them for Mike Johnson.
Yeah, and you know what? He brings out a good question. Where is LeBron James and the LA Lakers in LA through all of this?
Or the Dodgers.
Or the Dodgers. So what's happening is there's people who have, influence, and their silence is a killer. That's what we're saying. The silence of this invasion is now the chickens are coming home to roost. Because we don't want to talk about this, because we don't want to talk about the elephant in the room.
Because what did you say? You've been saying it for years. That good men, the
reason for the only thing that evil needs to triumph is for good men to do nothing.
And that's what we're seeing. Watchtower does nothing. They always say, wait on Jehovah. Wait on Jehovah.
Now, one of the things too that we're seeing with these videos of the riots is that in every house in America, you were talking about it, in every house, if you live in LA, in every house, family, someone in the home is pro anarchy, is pro illegal immigration.
Yes.
This has infected everyone. So we're kind of like in a civil war type when you were saying how it's brother against brother, father against son. Did you want to talk about that?
Well, if we could go back into the 18th century, if we could go back to the 18th century, maybe the 17th century, and the 19th century, when we had great wars, a lot of times when you were in the presence of a war, you didn't call it the American Revolutionary War. You would call it the war against taxation or a father versus son war. Because the American Revolutionary War in many ways was a father versus son war. And you go, how is that possible? Because you had your loyalists to the kings and you had your patriots to the American Republic. And it split households. It split a nation. And same thing with the Civil War. You had brother versus brother. A brother could be pro-Union and a brother could be pro-Confederate. The same thing is happening in the United States today. The Jehovah's Witnesses are complicit in this and not taking a stand, being political, like the great weakling Barack Obama leading from behind. Not taking a stand, but being a coward. Say, hey, you know what? I'm going to participate in this battle and I'm going to do everything I can and I'm going to send you 2 of my brothers over here to fight. No, you get over there and fight. What happens in every house, you'll have like a long-haired, purple-haired person who's pro-illegal alien, pro-Palestine, pro-whatever, but is definitely not pro-America. And in Los Angeles, you can walk down the streets and you'll see a lot of comments like, well, you're on Mexican soil. So let's say you're a father of 5 kids and your kids tell you, you know what, Dad, it's a good thing that we're burning Los Angeles in cars because this is Mexican soil. This will only lead to what we're seeing today because of that stupid comment. So it's going to take a lot of courage for a father to say, son, with that attitude, you can no longer be my son. You can't be in this house. Now, I'm not saying that this is the reality we're seeing today. The houses have been split because we did not take action. We are now seeing a divided country. A house divided cannot stand. Los Angeles is divided. If you go to the city of Los Angeles, let's say there's 3 million in the metropolitan area, you would probably get 2 million people tell you that Los Angeles belongs to Mexico. This is not sustainable. This is not sustainable. And you have stupid people like Newsom and Mayor Bass who refuse to correct it. You cannot fly a Mexican flag in the United States in a time of protest and not see that as an act of war or insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're seeing today. In every house, we're being divided because we didn't have the courage to tell our children, our parents, to shut the hell up. You're taking it past a line that we cannot. For example, if somebody in my house says, you know what, this is Mexican territory, you know what, that is a line I cannot let stand. I love you eternally, but with that attitude, I don't want you part of my family, we can't, it's too dangerous.
Now, I want to also talk about this. If you're in LA, somewhere in your circle of family and friends, these people are part of your family and friends. They're all over there lined up. Now, this guy's not real smart because he's right there. He probably has his cell phone on, and they've already triangulated him. They know who he is. But here's the thing. Remember, like when Charles Barkley told Jesse Smollett, when you break the law, do not write a check, you know? So these guys are out there with their cell phones throwing rocks at the Border Patrol, and they've been triangulated. But some of these are on motorcycles. And you want to talk about the motorcycles, Jesse?
I think this is what I believe. And it really doesn't matter what you think because I know I'm right. These young kids right here are not Mexican, American.
Mm-hmm.
These kids right here are Venezuelan or El Salvadorian, but these are Marxist revolutionaries that they have been let loose into our country. For example, during Chavez in Venezuela, they had were the Chavista thugs, Marxist thugs that would go beat up the people in Venezuela, Caracas.
Mm-hmm.
And they drove in motorcycles. They were motorcycle street thugs.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they used to do in Venezuela. These are Marxist revolutionary foot soldiers. They're paid for by the communists. This is an insurrection. This is an invasion of our country. You're seeing communist soldiers, and they're all over the United States. But we didn't want to say nothing. We didn't want to say nothing. And so now they're all amongst us. They're in every town. They hate America. You know, thousands of years ago in the Bible, it was saying to get rid of these people, that they will not lend you money. And you will, you know, these are accursed people.
Mm-hmm. So Reuters in the news likes to, we know this is fake news, right? Here it is. Video file. Share screen. This is it, Jesse, right here. This is Reuters trying to make these people look really nice. But these are the people that, a lot of these that were in jail in Venezuela. Donald Trump told you that they let go, they got rid of them from their jails and they sent them over to the United States. These are the people throwing rocks at those Border Patrol, ICE. Yeah, I don't think that your average Mexican American.
Now, Gilbert, listen. How is it? Let me just lay out an argument, and you're going to have to help me. How is it that the Jehovah's Witnesses hurt us? Well, the Jehovah's Witnesses tell us that there's no Moses and no Jesus when they leave. The Jehovah's Witnesses kill the spirituality and turn everybody into PMOs, POMOs, homos, whatever. But at the end, it's an atheist making factory.
Mm-hmm.
And they get us away from the teachings of Moses. Can you go to Deuteronomy 28, 43 and 44? Deuteronomy 28, 43 and 44. Is that possible?
Deuteronomy what?
28, chapter 28, verses 43 and 44.
Oh, but we don't do that on Saturday night.
It's Sunday.
Oh, okay. So if it's
Deuteronomy.
Sunday, okay.
I'll assure you, you'll love the verse. It was admonishing us of this day.
Mm-hmm.
The alien who's among you shall rise higher and higher above you, and you shall come down lower and lower. He shall lend to you, but you shall not lend to him. He shall be head, and you shall be the tail.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, all the curses shall come upon you and pursue and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of the Lord your God to keep his commandments and his statutes.
Mm-hmm.
But look what it says. The alien who's among you shall rise higher and higher above you, and you shall come down lower and lower. And that's what we're seeing. Now, this was specifically for Israel, but this could be used. The Bible is a book that helps us understand.
Mm-hmm.
This could be used in any nation who is overtaken by immigrants. The immigrants are not there because they love American civics, because they love George Washington, but because they love our freedom or our way of life. No, they want the free money. And they shall overtake you. We were told 3,500 years ago by Moses. But you eliminate Moses, you won't listen to him.
That's true. I just want to go here to. Wow, we're still at 100%. Is Watchtower pro illegal immigration?
That is incredible, huh? You think somebody would break ranks? Like, you think we'd have a Rand Paul? You think we'd have a Ron Johnson? You know, and the people go, Jesse, what do you want in the comment section? We're all agreeing with you. Well, I expected a little ruthlessness, backstabbing, a little scrambling to get to the top. But 100%, I don't want to feel like Fidel Castro. I mean, I wanted to win like a landslide victory. I expected a little backstabbing, a little geoengineering, a little bit of, you know, something. But a 100% rate? I mean, our argument is too perfect. It's like that phone call that Trump did. It was a perfect phone call. Mm-hmm. You know, your poll. It was a perfect poll. I expected a little bit of imperfection.
In my country, our own sleep on the street while illegal immigrants sleep in luxury hotels. And then that's why she said that's an epic scripture. Because JW Suicides is seeing that scripture take place in her own land. Yeah. Wow. That's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah.
JW's cart witnessing at the LA riots.
Now, Gilbert, can I give you credit where credit is due? Can I give somebody credit? Now, you know where I learned that scripture today?
Where?
From Bobby Kennedy's VP nomination, Shanahan. Mm-hmm. She's the one who released it today. She sees it as a CIA psyops.
Everyone is saying that, yeah.
Now, she is a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
And they're tired of what's happening to their country. Mm-hmm. She's a Democrat. She's not a Republican.
And she can see through it.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of these people are being paid.
And she's quoting scripture. A Democrat quoting scripture. A Democrat quoting scripture is like an atheist saying Hail Mary. Mm-hmm. It's like a racist going to a bar mitzvah. You know?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now, the news is that Donald Trump is releasing 500 people, active duty Marines, are ready to deploy. He has to, Jesse, because they want to make him look weak. the Patrick David, I guess, did a video today, and he was basically saying kind of like what we say about your silence is a killer. And he was saying Gavin Newsom and the mayor are completely silent on this. Not one word. You would think that they would have something. You would think that they would just say, please don't burn down private vehicles.
Gilbert, here's another thing. Can you go to David Wicklin? We have to take a curve here, a detour in our show, because a lot of people know you as a love guru. You like to talk about love and everything. But do you really think that David Wicklin has a lady friend in Honduras?
Yeah, because he spelled the name of that city perfectly. So yeah,
okay, listen. When a man
he probably writes to her a lot. Yeah.
Okay, let's dissect this. Okay, let's really get into a deep dive. Let's pretend you and I are Grok, and you're Chat GPT, and I'm Grok. Let's say a man loves a woman. He can't take his mind on nothing else. Mm-hmm. He'll trade her. He'll trade the world for the good thing he's found. Do you really think that if a man has a lady friend, a beautiful woman in some distant part of the planet, you're going to know how to pronounce and spell that's such a complicated native name? You know, like if I was going to write Tiguchicapalpa, I would put Titi, Titicaca, or something like that.
Yeah. Hey, so we have 41 minutes, so let's just go on. Maybe Elon Musk and Tesla can swoop in for the rescue. I don't think so. Elon Musk has...
Look, Gilbert, should we drop the card on this? And you're going to hear it first on the GG for GB channel. Should I talk about it, the black guy?
Oh, yeah, look at. So the rumor is, well, I guess, is there a video of him getting a black eye or something, or what?
Well, there's pictures. And here's the thing. Elon Musk, at first we thought he wasn't an American. But now we're saying maybe it's even deeper than that. Maybe he's not even a man. Maybe. Because he got beat up, we think. There's a rumor that he got beat up by our Secretary Treasurer. Now, if it's true, there's two dynamics. Our Treasury Secretary is a man. He's a flat-out stud. And this thing about BRICS and the Chinese money and all, Scott Bessent will kick their dollar's ass. If he could kick Elon Musk's ass, I mean, think about it. We got a badass Treasury Secretary.
So let's see here. Black guy during his farewell at the White House. So, now Scott Bessent, well, he's a tall guy. You know, he adopted a son too. He's a gay man, adopted a son. And I'm just saying, you know, this gay dude beat this. If this is true, this gay guy beat up Elon Musk. That's going to be a hard one to.
But Gilbert, we live in a trans world. So Scott Bessent is the man. And Elon is a weakling. So Scott Bessent is the alpha male. Have you ever seen those videos of dogs where the alpha male just totally... Elon Musk has a lot of money and he was great at business, but he's not an alpha male. Close the door.
Now we're gonna tell you that Jesse and I have been preaching this way before Elon Musk, way before this happened. This is what you need to know about the Elon Musk controversy with Donald Trump.
Right up to you got killed. If you win.
That's true. There was never in our history, in our modern history, never has a man set such a great example of fire. Never has anybody done. I mean, what Elon Musk did with Doge, it was Trump-esque. It was bigger than MAGA in a way. It was the greatest flying a man can ever do, up until the moment that you got killed because you never ever leave your wingman. Nobody elected Elon Musk. They elected Donald Trump. His job was to protect the wingman who has been assigned, in this case by the commander, to lead the charge. When you don't do, when you break rank, then the enemy is going to take advantage of that, and in this case, you die. Oh man, so this is so it continues, and this is the best part.
Never. How you flying?
Elon, it's your attitude.
The enemy's dangerous. Person, dangerous and foolish. You may not like the guys flying with you. They may not like you. Whose side are you on?
Yeah. I hate the rhinos too. I hate the rhinos. I hate the Republican rhinos. I hate all of those guys. Okay, yeah, we all know it. But at the end of the day, whose side are you on? They don't like you. You don't like them. But at the end of the day, we have a commander in chief, and he's our wingman, and we can't break rank. And this is the problem with Elon Musk. Elon Musk doesn't understand. He thinks he's the commander in chief.
No. Yes, but it's worse than that. It's deeper than that. He's not an American. An American, that's why the Constitution talks about a natural born citizen. Elon Musk is not a natural born American. He might be a citizen. Yes, I understand that. But at the heart of the matter, like Don Henley would say, at the heart of the matter is he doesn't know, and going to what you just said, I'll add to it. He doesn't understand that he serves at the pleasure of the president, which means he has no honor. He serves at the pleasure of the president. He was gifted something that many Americans don't have. We ask a lot of Americans to go and defend their country, or their children to go defend the country. They would never, ever be invited to Washington. They would never be given thanks. They would be off in some far off land, and their bodies will be turned to spit and murdered and killed in the most horrendous fashion. And not even a thank you will be extended to them.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm telling you is Elon Musk got 100 billion times more than many of the great patriots who love our country got. For example, is our flag still there? Those American patriots were being bombed, shelled by the British artillery to hold that flag up at the founding of our song, our national anthem. They got no thank you. They didn't get to eat dinner with Donald Trump. They didn't get to sit at the halls and drink champagne with their baby up there. Elon Musk received so much. He was given so much, and he treated it so carelessly. He doesn't respect America like an American would, a true American would. A true American would be grateful. Isn't it what you're always preaching, that there's two types of people on this planet? Greats and ingrates, grateful and ungrateful people. I hate to say it, but Elon Musk has a lot growing up to do. Yes, he's a great businessman and a billionaire and a philanthropist, whatever. But he's not a great American. A great American has gratitude.
Wow. So speaking of that, doesn't Kamala Harris still, speaking of Americans and gratitude, doesn't Kamala Harris still live out in California? Maybe she'll save them. She has volunteer time right now. Well, I don't know. Let's find out what just broke in the Gateway Pundit. Oh, Kamala Harris just did a post on X. And my statements on what's unfolding in LA, Los Angeles is my home. Like so many Americans, I am appalled at what we are witnessing on the streets of our city. Deploying the National Guard is dangerous escalation meant to provoke chaos. In addition to the recent ICE raids in Southern California and across our nation, it is part of the Trump administration's cruel, calculated agenda to spread panic and division. So she's not witnessing the illegal criminals in her city. She's not witnessing violent gang thugs burning private citizens' vehicles. She's not seeing people raising foreign flags and saying that this land is ours. No, she's seeing that Donald Trump is deploying the National Guard to promote peace. This administration's actions are not about public safety. They're about stoking fear of a community demanding dignity and due process. Protest is a powerful tool, essentially, in the fight for justice. And as the LAPD mayor and governor have noted, demonstrations in defense of our immigrant neighbors have been overwhelmingly peaceful. I continue to support not the American people, but the millions of Americans who are standing up to protect our most fundamental rights and freedoms. Jesse. So that's the answer to David Wickham's question on the chat.
Hey, Gilbert, if you go up a little bit, he had another comment where he talked. It's true, Gigi and Jesse.
And I saw. We'll get that, but that's going back to the Love Guru.
Yeah. But one question, because he names his friend, and the appropriate question would be, does she have a sister?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. Does Lizette have a sister?
David,
yeah.
Gilbert wants to know, does Lizette have a sister in Tegus, Honduras?
Yeah, because we have a guy right here who could use her number. Do you think the president will call this situation an insurrection?
No, soon? Not yet. He hasn't yet. He was asked about that.
Mm-hmm. Not yet.
Now, here's the thing. You have to understand that cooler heads were telling us that this was going to happen in the summer. They've been planning this. And the communists, they organize. They've been organizing this. We knew this was going to happen. People have been warning about it. This is a communist insurrection. Now, they know there's a lot of crazy people out there. So they're going to wait to see somebody get hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt. They're going to get run over by a car, a border patrol truck. And then all hell's going to break loose. This is being done on purpose to divide the United States of America. Thank you, Democrat Party. Mm-hmm. They allowed these people, those kids that were throwing rocks, the Democrats let them in. Kamala Harris let them in. Mm-hmm. She really doesn't have a moral point to talk, to judge. But it is politics, so it's only natural that she plays. It's like a game of chess. Of course she had to do that post because she's putting all her eggs in the United States falling. If the United States administration falls, Kamala Harris wins. Mm-hmm. If America is great, Kamala Harris loses. Mm-hmm. She's there for the scraps. A low IQ person gets a low IQ nation.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So.
Hey, I'm sorry, man, Gilbert. David says no, she doesn't have another sister.
So we encourage you guys to participate in the poll, and we'll just go back before we close it up. The Jehovah's Witnesses are cart witnessing out there in LA, and here's the picture.
There's some other ones, huh?
What's this one?
Oh man, he looks mad there. Look at all the ribbons. He looks like he's from the Azov battalion. Like he just flew in from the Ukraine. And what is it on the corner? Are they burning the Bible or?
Yeah, they're burning something. Mm-hmm. They're book burners. And Watchtower is known to be a book burner. Yeah, they like to burn books. Maybe that's the book burning outfit that they have. Yeah.
It could be. Yeah,
because Watchtower is an official book burner. They burn their books, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I guess they have to have that special gear when burning books, but that's them out there. And but here's the point, Jesse. Somebody might look at that and say, "Oh, that's stupid." But Leslie Nielsen did the same thing we showed earlier, because there's nothing to see here, and that's what we're witnessing. We're witnessing that the comedy series, the comedy. You think it can never? This is so funny because it's so stupid, but now it's real. That stupidity is now real, where you actually have ABC, NBC, CBS saying, "There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here." What do you think will be the line in the sand for an insurrection act to be activated? After seeing busloads of people going to downtown, I think LA may be in a bad shape after work. Well, it's real simple because the Bible talks about how because swift justice isn't carried out, evil people, well, they continue with their evil deeds. So here's the point. Donald Trump, I believe, with Pam Bondi, right, the FBI, they need to arrest all of those bus drivers. Every single one of those bus drivers and U-Haul owners of the U-Haul company, they just all need to be arrested. And then you put a plea deal on them. Who gave you the order? Who gave you the order? You're only supposed to do one bus line every 30 minutes. Why are there 10 bus lines going to this location? And you just keep going up and you just keep arresting people and give them a plea deal. And then you have to do a perp walk. Because nobody's getting perp walked, because nobody is showing you what Visa transaction authorized that U-Haul to bring in all of the equipment, and no one's going to jail, there's no perp walk, then this is going to continue.
But there's
Go ahead.
There's another phenomenon in California, and maybe JP can't understand this. He can't, because he is a product of California. And maybe the spirit of freedom doesn't exist. The spirit of America doesn't exist in California. Because in any other state of the republic, besides Hawaii, maybe, but or Oregon or Washington, but you would have patriots in the street saying, hell no. But California workers, they want to make $30, $40, $50 an hour. They want to receive the dollar. They don't want to sacrifice. John F. Kennedy said, ask not what your country could do for you. Ask what you could do, what your country can. Ask not what you could do, what your country could do for you. Ask what you could do for your country. That doesn't exist in California no more. Everybody's worried about their pension. Me. This insurrection act could be stopped in every household. You tell your children, no, if you participate in this insurrection, I'm going to throw your ass out. I'm going to beat you up. Somebody beat up Elon Musk. And it's come to that. In every house in California, there is an insurrectionist. In every house, there's a traitor. In every house, there's a Judas Iscariot or a Benedict Arnold. They live amongst you. And the people of California, I don't think have the courage anymore. I really don't think there's enough patriots in California. There's Dodgers, there's Lakers, there's entertainers, but there's not lovers of America.
I would disagree with you because Jesus said, remember, that when the great majority was lost, that then he would return. He would have to return. So the fact that Jesus is not here means that the great majority of people do love what is right, what is good and decent. And the Bible talks about this, where there are more that are with us than are against us. So
not in California.
Well,
not in California. You know what? I've driven in California.
See, California to you is like an ex-wife, an ex-girlfriend that did you wrong, and you just hate her, man. You can't see anything good in her. Go ahead.
You couldn't be more wrong. I love California. I think it's the most beautiful state in the union. I really do, physically. But I've driven there, and I don't feel a spirit of America in California. Do you see those people burning and shitting on their city? They do it all the time. They did it under 1992. They do it all the time. There's a spirit of entitlement in California. They're more worried about how much they're going to make an hour. They're very materialistic. They're not a spiritual people. There's something in California. For example, the Magna Carta was made in Europe, but yet the spirit of Magna Carta lives in the United States. This is why we say we're the land of the free and home of the brave. What started in Europe migrated to America. The same thing has happened to California. California has a spirit of independence, but they don't have a spirit of commune with the United States in the spirit of America, of sacrifice that John F. Kennedy talked about. He said, ask not what your country could do for you, ask what you could do for your country. That doesn't exist in California. It's all about me.
I don't know, Jesse. I think California did you wrong, like a dirty girlfriend, and you have something against her. But I think that the great majority.
And you know what though? I hope you're right and I'm wrong. Okay. I really do. But I don't see it. When you talk to people from California, they almost have a contempt for Arizona. They have a contempt for Tech. They have contempt for the rest of the union.
Okay. We'll let people. We'll let other people answer that question. But
Did you invite anybody on your show?
I don't.
You have the link there.
Oh, I did. Okay. Is Watchtower pro illegal immigration? We have 100%. Yes, that Watchtower loves illegal immigration from a law and order God. Wow. Jehovah's organization here on earth. Somebody likes to follow the rules of the Bible, but they're pro illegal immigration. Yeah, that's what we got 100%. No, yeah, we did put the link up there. Did I? Let me see. Okay. No, people are afraid to come on because of your comments about California. There's probably a couple of people from California that wanted to come on, but then they got scared.
What did I say bad about California? I'm trying to instill a fruit of love for country, patriotism, a spirit of sacrifice that was unique to the American foundation, to the American story.
Correct. Perhaps the best thing that could happen to California, because of everything that's happening right now, if Donald Trump would force the Senate and the House to just talk and consider the movement that's already existing to divide the state into like 3 or 4 parts. So if Donald Trump can use what's happening right now, he can let it get a little worse, and he can say, no, okay, these movements that you have in Northern California, we're going to address them in the Senate. We're going to push forward, and we're going to divide California into 3, 4. You know what? If he throws that wrench in the system, the Democrats are going to go apeshit.
The pride is before the fall. The people of California are very proud, and they have a spirit of independence. They don't have a spirit of freedom, but they do have a spirit of independence. It's different. It's a different spirit that is closely aligned, but it's not. They like to go at it alone. If you try to split anything, they're very arrogant people in California. They think they know better than everything. They always tell it, we're the 5th largest economy in the planet. They always think they're superior than everybody. They're our version of France. It's like Gavin Newsom. He's our Macron. These people are very arrogant people. They really believe their poo-poo doesn't smell. They believe their poo-poo is perfume. And so when their state is destroying and you tell them, hey, there's a remedy to this. Come back to the American fold. They can't see it. They say, shut up. We're superior than you. And so what I'm saying is we're almost at a point where you almost have to let California go off into the ocean. Only California can help California. They have to look at their vices and say, hey, we need a remedy. They're in denial. You just read Kamala Harris's letter. She's over here talking about how she supports California when she sees us throwing rocks. She's in denial that people are throwing rocks at Border Patrol and ICE agents. She denies that they have Marxist insurrectionists in their city. They're in a state of denial. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. I don't think California has to help themselves. They need to look inward and go, wow, we're fucked up. We need to clean up a little bit.
Correct.
California is like the reverse Midas touch. Everything they touch turns to shit. They're not like their fathers. Their fathers were the Golden State. But they inherited everything, and now they don't know how to build anything. They service what is existing. They didn't build the Golden State. They live off of the Golden State.
Correct. Nayib Bukele did a great video. He's sitting with a whole bunch of people, right? And he's talking about how how like in Mexico and other countries, the drug cartels control this here, they control here. And he goes, you never hear about the drug cartels controlling South Dakota or controlling, Normandy, France or something. And he's giving examples, and then he asks the people like, well, why do you think it is? And these are business leaders and investors into the country, and multi-billionaires, millionaires. And he says it's because the cartels are in the government. And he goes, yeah. So what's when you look at this immigration thing, and we know that the cartels make a lot of money by bringing people across the border. So some people say that you can't say that all of these things that are lawless are because they're lawless people. Some of it can just be chalked up to just sheer stupidity. Like, for example, Kamala Harris and what she said today. Is what she said today proof that she's on the take from the cartels, or could it be just sheer stupidity? Well, that's a 50-50. That's a 50-50 question. But you can't discount that what we're seeing in LA and the indifference from Gavin Newsom, many political figures, and like the mayor and judges. They have to be on the take, Jesse. A lot of our brothers and sisters in political power, they're being controlled by the narco state, just like in Mexico.
Or the narco state is taking advantage of a spirit that exists in California. It is the division of the United States of America. We have a saying in the United States of America, says, as goes California, so goes the country. And so California was a good gauge of what was going to happen in environmental law, environmental regulations, everything. In OSHA and safety hazards and building and engineering, California was always historically the leader. So if California turns to shit, then the United States can turn to crap. And that's what they've done to the Golden State. They even turned the roads of California, San Francisco, into poo-poo. Don't you remember that? And look at all the encampments on Skid Row. Look at all the homelessness in Los Angeles. And Gavin Newsom should be a disgrace as a human being. A disgrace as a human being. Who looks at their state and goes, look, I have shit in my streets and my most beautiful... That should be he should have a little bit of pride. He doesn't. He takes pride in crap. This is unique to the human experiment, to the American pageant. This is not what America is made for, the pride. So Gavin Newsom is unique in that aspect, is he revels. They revel in the destruction of their state. And so since that spirit permeates the state, you have nefarious actors that you alluded to coming into the state and taking advantage of it. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you always said it, that you quoted one great speaker in the old days. They said the last act of a crumbling state is when they go after the treasury. What was that quote that you always say?
The last official act of a corrupt government is the raiding of the treasury.
Mm-hmm. They're raiding California. And you know what you said, I have a problem with California. I don't even get upset about it, how wrong you are, because I know that I love California. I love everything about California. I just had dinner from California. Everything about California is beautiful. Gilbert, when you and I were little kids, the first time me and you took off in a car together, alone, we landed in Del Mar when we were 16 years old. You were 14. How can we not love California? It is the most beautiful state. What we're saying is that, hey, people, you guys turned your state into a wasteland, a hell on earth. You need to look in the mirror, California, and you need to have patriots in every home and says, no, we're going to clean up California. We're going to clean it up in my house. We're going to clean it up on my street. We're going to clean it up. Some of you might lose your lives. A lot of great patriots cleaning up their street lost their lives. Yes, this is what might have to happen. We might be called into action to give our lives for the betterment of our community. But you got to do something. California is in a shithole right now.
Mm-hmm. There you go. I think we scared a lot of people today. Yeah, the news is really bad. So, which is a good thing because things got to get fixed. So,
But listen, there's men and then there's women. Let the word go out that we all know that Joe Biden was a child, a petulant child, like Elon Musk. And now there's a man, an adult in the White House, and they left him a big, dirty job. Can Donald Trump fix it? I don't know. Do I have faith that he can? I have faith that he could correct it. It's better than the children, the petulant children in Sacramento and Joe Biden. They let illegal aliens that were throwing rocks, that you showed the video. Show the video of them throwing rocks at our trucks.
mm-hmm.
My God. What would John F. Kennedy say? What would Ronald Reagan say? What would George Washington say if he saw an illegal alien in Los Angeles throwing rocks at a Border Patrol vehicle? And then compare it to Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, who say nothing.
And this is the other problem that we have. Religion is saying nothing. Our politicians are saying nothing.
Our rock and rollers, our pop culture says nothing.
And our news media is the enemy of the people.
Yeah.
Here we have CNN interviewing California Congresswoman Nanette Barragan, apparently did not realize that there was literally video of a car on fire, as she claimed the protest.
We agree that if you're being violent, you should be arrested. You should be prosecuted. There is no disagreement on that. I think that's an effort that we can all say. But this is not what's happening. We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting. And we know that California law enforcement, local law enforcement, they're there to protect the public. They're there to protect and have public safety. And that's what they're there to do. Now, when people turn on law enforcement is when you get that response.
Wow.
Okay,
So
her name is Representative Barragan. My name is Jesus Gonzalez. We're both Mexican-American. I speak Spanish, fluent Spanish. She speaks, I don't know if she does. But she's a disgrace to our race. She's a disgrace. She's a low IQ. She should be nowhere near the halls of government. Nowhere near. But she represents ignorant, low IQ people. She's in a state of denial. Do you understand how dangerous that is to a civilized people? The only way our republic works if we have an informed electorate and we have an ill-informed electorate. This is a person who can't see a burning car in the middle of the street and calls it a peaceful protest. She's an illiterate of the ages. That means in quantum theory, in quantum mechanics, in quantum ages, this woman is at the bottom of intelligence. She's a disgrace to everything Mexican and everything American. She doesn't have the mental capacity to understand that that is not a peaceful protest.
mm-hmm.
We're dealing with an ignorance and a denial so great that I don't know if it can be fixed.
Well, I always say the same thing about Watchtower. You know, they are a disgrace to a thing called religion and Christianity.
Christianity, yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is just coming out, breaking in the news right now. I'll show you real quick. Governor Newsom is pissed off, right? Because Donald Trump is now in charge.
You're seeing these authoritarian tendencies now are being acted out by this administration. And we're case in point as it relates to nationalizing, federalizing the National Guard, threatening now to put in Marines. So I hope these people would pause and just consider. Now, some of them, they want that kind of chaos. Some ways they're adjacent to where Donald Trump is. Peaceful protesters, we want to keep them safe. We want them to exercise their fundamental rights. We want to keep those that are enforcing the laws in a respectful and responsible way also safe. But Donald Trump needs to pull back. He needs to stand down. Donald Trump is inflaming these conditions. This is Donald Trump's problem right now. And if he can't solve it, we will.
He continues to, as always, hit you hard publicly. Just 10 minutes ago, he put out another Truth Social telling you and the mayor to apologize to the people of Los Angeles. You guys go at it pretty hard publicly, but I know you talk privately. Have you spoken in the last couple of days to the president about any of this?
Yeah, we talked for almost 20 minutes, and this issue never came up. I kept trying to talk about LA. He wanted to talk about all these other issues. We had a very decent conversation.
When was this?
This was late Friday night, I think about 1:30 plus his time.
After the protest had started?
After the protest, and he never once brought up the National Guard. He's a stone cold liar. He said he did. Stone cold liar. Never did. It was a very civil conversation. I've always wanted to approach engagement with the President of the United States in a respectful and responsible way. But there's no working with the president. There's only working for him. And I will never work for Donald Trump.
Did you mention at all to him in that phone call on Friday night, the types of raids that were happening in your state on Friday? You know, there are reports that and video of enforcement operations happening in ways that they haven't traditionally. ICE officers going to Home Depots around Los Angeles and picking off day laborers. Did you bring that up with him?
The conversation started with the frame of what's happening in LA. He immediately pivoted to other interests and other things.
Do you think he was aware of what was happening in Los Angeles?
I think I'm more than aware. And obviously, he was setting this up to take these additional steps.
This was a setup.
And I'm not saying he was setting things up, not saying it was a setup, but clearly they were in the process of moving to these next steps because out of nowhere, just a few hours after that conversation, he moves to pull the trigger under this construct under Title 10 and then created and exacerbated the conditions that are persisting today.
This is your authority normally to deploy the National Guard here. Right. You did it. We were together after the fires, and those National Guard troops have been out all across Los Angeles working to rebuild and recover this city. How did you find out that the President of the United States was going to usurp your authority and deploy your National Guard here in California?
I got a call from a staffer. No heads up whatsoever. And again, we're here to support local law enforcement. There's a mutual aid process. Local law enforcement had no needs. They were out requesting any additional resources. I've got 100 now. I have 175 CHP officers, technically trained officers, tactical teams to address Donald Trump's mess. We're here to support local law enforcement, the sheriff's office, LAPD, but they didn't need that support. He made this up. This is a manufactured crisis in order to get under the tent to start to stretch credulity and to begin the process of moving inevitably towards a constitutional questioning crisis around posse comitatus. And it's, I think, inevitable. That's where he's going.
Tom Homan, the border czar, said to me yesterday he did not rule out literally arresting you, nor Mayor Bass, if you interfere in his words. He said you hadn't yet.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. But you know what? Let your hands off 4-year-old girls that are trying to get educated. Let your hands off these poor people that are just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes, been here 10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy.
Yes.
You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community.
You gotta finish.
The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
Please. Let's go. And you know what? No, I had to say that. I'm sorry, because he tried to use the kids. Oh, it's about the children and this. No. The children are being raped on the border. We see the polls where the women are tied and they're being gang raped by the cartels. We see, I mean, the evidence is overwhelming, and everybody knows what Tom Homan is saying is true. He's not the only Border Patrol agent. Everybody knows this is true. And then for this governor to come and play the child card, I'm over here trying to protect the children of the people that he's trying to arrest.
Gilbert,
I mean, that guy, Tom Homan, should arrest him, man. And he thinks that his pretty boy comments, he thinks that he can have his gel hair and look all pretty and talk all melodious words, just like the Pharisees, nice, beautiful, melodious words, that he could just go ahead and just blame everybody.
But the devil is the angel of light, Mm-hmm. Gavin Newsom is Justin Trudeau. He is Pierre Macron. He is Barack Obama. And see, the spiritual eye of California doesn't exist. This is why I was telling you about the spirit of America. Because you talked about his jail hair. The women of California vote for that. They voted for this. JP's over here.
No.
They voted for. Look, wait, hold on. Let me finish. When you see Justin Trudeau and you see Macron, that is him. I don't think the mental capacity exists in California to understand the difference. A spiritual man, a man of the American spirit, understands what you just said about Gavin Newsom. But the average Californian can't do it now. They see a pretty picture and that's it. Mm-hmm. They cannot. I don't think the mental capacity, the spirit of America does not exist in California. We have to re-educate the public. They need to take Constitution classes. They need to go back to American civics. Mm-hmm. They've forgotten what it is. They think a man who wears leather shoes is good for America. They think a guy who's slicked back like Gavin Newsom is good for America. They think a pretty guy, a skinny guy, a handsome guy, because he's pretty. Have you seen him compared to his wife? He's prettier than his wife.
What he just said right there when I blew up is like the governing body of Jehovah's Witness saying that you apostates are hurting the young children with your videos, this and that. Hold on. As if the Australian Royal Commission didn't just lay it all out on the line that you guys are raping little boys and girls.
Yes.
You're raping them.
But
physically raping
Joe
them.
Biden,
and you blame somebody because some Jehovah's Witness kid got tormented because he saw some apostate video. That's what Gavin Newsom is saying. Gavin Newsom is blaming Donald Trump and ICE and saying, you guys are hurting these poor little girls and boys because their parents are being harassed by ICE when they're being gang raped on the Mexican border.
Okay.
When they're working as slaves to pay the debt off and cartel-run businesses because they have to pay for getting over to this side. Go ahead.
Then this fight has to be. This is how men solve things. It's great that Gavin Newsom has touche. You know, like when two swords meet in the night. Touche. This is a fight that was a long time coming. We should be happy now. Now we have to vocalize. We have to educate the public what the battle is. Gavin Newsom is clearly for keeping the illegal aliens. You keep your hands off the 4-year-old. He's talking about the illegal aliens. He is pro-elite. What is the question on your poll?
Is Watchtower pro-illegal alien?
Change it to, is Gavin Newsom pro-illegal alien?
No.
No, I'm just saying. Change it. He's pro-illegal alien. And Donald Trump's not. It's when two tribes go to war. We have an argument here. What are we going to do with the illegal immigrants? And they're an entitled class. When other immigrants came to America, they studied American civics. They got assimilated into the American spirit. These haven't. And so it's time to clean house. Gavin Newsom doesn't want it because an ill-informed electorate will always vote Democrat. An informed electorate is always a yuppie class, will always vote conservative. It's natural. That's why the Democrats, Rush Limbaugh told us this 30 years ago. The Democrats need illegal aliens coming in because there's their voters. Look, if an illegal alien does not respect the border law, do you think he's going to respect the voter laws?
No.
Do you think he's going to respect the traffic or the driver's license laws?
No.
Do you think he's going to the tax law? So the Democrats are the party of chaos. And do you notice how he calls everybody? Yeah, they're the man. So the case can be made that Gavin Newsom is a man of lawlessness. Because he is empowered. He is empowered by lawlessness.
One of the best comments right now is Julian Watson when he says Newsom needs to decide if California is USA or if it's Mexico.
Yeah, he's right. I mean, that is very eloquently said. Yes.
Yeah. At the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that goes down to our philosophy of keep it simple, stupid. That is simplified in its most basic form.
Look at what Shaq Composer says.
Oh, leave him alone.
No, I'm not attacking it. I agree with him. But you got to understand, you're speaking for 20 million people. You can't have 20 million voices. You have to say it as a whole. The state of California voted for that guy. So, Shaq, you need to look in the mirror. And it is your state. It's like, for instance, in our state, me and Gilbert, We're not happy that Katie Hobbs won, but it is what it is. It's something we need to correct. That's all we're saying. We're not blaming you, Shaq. We're just saying your state, for some reason, did not stand up. And this is what we were saying about the Jehovah's Witnesses and the political neutrality. When Gavin Newsom was running for governor, you where were you? You should have been teaching, and I'm not saying you personally, everybody in California. How did you let a snake oil salesman who loves Mexico more than the United States of America become your governor? If I was living in California, that is a rhetorical question I would ask myself. What did I do? As a Californian, I didn't do enough.
Nice, sir. He said, but they need, quote, need them illegal aliens, since us fat, lazy, overeducated American workers want to sit behind desks or at home instead of milking dairy cows, right? No, that's not really what it is. What it is there's a lot of, no. Americans love milking dairy cows. Yeah, we have a lot of problems. But
I like milking dairy cows.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, a lot of Americans would love to do that. It's just there's an, and if you knew anything about the dairy industry in the United States, you would be pleasantly surprised how corrupt the Department of Agriculture is when it comes to monopolizing the milk industry. It's sad. And in Yuma, Arizona, where we're from, the reason I know this is because one of the very few farms, kind of like Amish farms, very few farms, Sarah farms, they get held by they just get it. I mean, they get abused by the Department of Agriculture. So yeah, they have a monopoly. The milking industry is a monopoly.
Hey,
but that's not for another day. But no, you know what, David? I do believe Americans would love to milk cows instead of working at a desk. Yeah, but you know, speaking of that, they need them. One of the problems with, like, for example, kitchen work and kneading, when you can't, if I wanted to wash dishes at a restaurant, I just need a part-time job, I want to wash dishes or whatever, you have to speak Spanish or Chinese to wash dishes. That's a problem. That's a problem. So a lot of times, David's onto something. We need them. They've created a system where they've actually pushed people out. You have pushed. So it's not like, for example, we don't want black men and women to be cut our lawn. There's a lot of videos where black men, you know, in the South are cutting lawns. But when you bring in, you know, 200, 300, 400, 500 Mexican families into a small town in Arkansas, and they all want to cut grass, it creates problems for the American. So here you have a black American who's cutting grass, but now he's competing with 100 Mexicans. We got a problem.
Gilbert,
so
it's hurting. And I'm going to say something provocative.
Mm-hmm.
The Mexicans are racist. Mexicans are racist. Now, how do you say, Jesse, how do you say Mexicans are racist? Okay, let's say you're a customer service rep, and you get 21 million Mexicans come into or Spanish-speaking people. Let's say Spanish-speaking people are the racists. They don't want to learn American. They don't want to assimilate into American society, and they demand you speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say there's 10 people call your company for service. You have 2 people answering the phone. One speaks Spanish and English, and one only speaks English. You have a Mexican-American girl and a white girl, only speaks English.
Mm-hmm.
And 80% of the people calling in want to only speak in Spanish and demand you speak in Spanish. Who's going to be overworked and who's going to be underburdened?
Mm-hmm.
The Mexican-American is going to be overworked because now she's got 8 people to take care of. The white person is going to go out to lunch and smoke a cigarette and take lunch break. The Mexican won't ever get a lunch break. And that's what's happening in our work everywhere. Nobody wants to speak Spanish. And the Mexican Americans are being overworked. I've seen it with my own eyes. In every industry, it's the same thing. Because they won't speak English. They overburden the system. And not only that, it's harder for the boss to get crucial information to the employees because the workers don't want to speak Spanish. If they didn't respect the border law, do you think they're going to respect the OSHA laws? Do you think they're going to respect the environmental laws? Do you think they're going to respect your lube? Mm-hmm. Do you think they might press the wrong buttons when it comes to liters and gallons? There's a lot of questions because of language. My assertion is that by them coming to America and not wanting to assimilate into an English standard, they're the racist because they're forcing this nation to heel to them. They're the racist. No, I want them to be like Joe DiMaggio's mom and dad who learned English when they came to America. I want them to be like my mom and dad, learned English. They want to cut in line and they want America to bend to them. I would venture to say that they're the racist. They're the spoiled, petulant children. And that's what America is saying. Enough is enough. And Governor Newsom is not a man to understand that. He caters. He follows the path of least resistance. And what is it? The guys on the street are giving him the most resistance. So he's going to go along with thugs.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. So a lot of you guys don't speak Spanish. But Claudia Scheinbaum 5 hours ago criticized the ICE agents, the government migratory agents of Los Angeles. The president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, criticized the federal agents who have caused the protests in Los Angeles. Notice that it's ICE, that she's saying that ICE, and she is saying that the Border Patrol has caused the riots. And then she says that the president of Mexico says that Los Angeles would not be what it is today if not the Mexican and Mexican men and women were not living there. So LA would not be LA if it weren't for the Mexicans. Wow.
So there's two types of people, grateful and ungrateful.
Yeah.
So us Mexican people, we're not being grateful to the sacrifice of the Native Americans, the Chinese, the whites, the blacks that built this country. We want to take credit for the greatness of Los Angeles.
So she says that these illegals immigrate, which they didn't. They crossed the border illegally, but she says they immigrated for necessity, and then they send their money back to families in Mexico. And she added, they are not criminals. Of course they are. They broke the law. They broke Social Security laws. They just broke every law in the book. So she's trying to paint the Mexicans as saints and ICE and the Border Patrol as the villains who caused the riots. This is the mentality that we're dealing with.
So in every neighborhood in Los Angeles, there needs to be civics classes. If you're 80 years old, okay, invite people to coffee in your house and study the Constitution, study the Bible. You know how we have Bible classes at home? We need to do that in America too. We need to have Constitution classes. We need to have Constitution debates. We need to have podcasts. Everybody has to be involved, because what has happened in the last 40 years, we've let in millions and millions of people and we didn't ask them to assimilate. Our school system failed us. Our school teachers failed us. Our education department failed us. We used to have civic classes. Remember when we were babies, Mom used to go to 4th Avenue Junior High and learn American free enterprise, and they would take civic classes at night? Then they stopped doing it. They stopped assimilating immigrants. They did it on purpose to divide us. They did it to divide our country. When we say one nation under God, indivisible, well, that's how they're going to divide us. In the Bible, we're all ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. How did God divide the people in Babylon? Did he not do it through the language?
Mm-hmm.
And what do we see in the United States? We're being divided by the language.
Mm-hmm.
The Spanish-speaking people, for some reason, think that California, Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, and Nevada belong to Mexico. What I'm saying is that's going to end in deadly, deadly consequences. That cannot be. Governor Newsom has to be told, no, he's wrong on this. Like Julian Watson said, he has to decide whose side is he on. And right now, he wants to be the side of the cucaracha. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. So Jesse,
Hey,
man, it's late, but go ahead.
Look at John Marciano. Remember, California was once Spanish.
Hey, 1560 though. Yeah. But you know what? It's like me going down to 21st Avenue in Yuma and saying, "Hey, this used to be my home." Yeah, it's like, well, where does this end? Yeah, where does it end? This used to be my home. Imagine if I go down on 14th Street and I go, "Hey, that used to be my home." You know, so what? So what?
Mm-hmm.
So what? Is what they say is whoever has the gold makes the rules, right? Ownership. If you don't own it, if you don't have it in your hand, you don't own it. That's what they say. So possession is 9/10 of the law. Who owns California? Well, millions of people because it's divided into parcels. Yeah. So this argument, no, but no. Yeah, he's not. He's not. He's not being combative. He was just
No. I
You're
understand.
you're the one that seems to be combative because you have an ex-girlfriend relationship with California.
Gilbert, the song says, "The war outside waging will soon shake your windows and rattle your walls."
Yes,
And
yes, I believe
a lot
that.
of people don't see it. We've been asleep too long. And Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris don't understand that the American spirit has been revived.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't hit California yet. It hasn't hit California. What we're seeing is the other 48 states in the continuous United States are saying to California, you need to get your house in order.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in every house, in every schoolhouse in the United States, we have to start a father and mother in your house and get, hey, if you betray America, get the hell out of here. Well, if we started talking bad about America, what would that have done to us?
Yeah.
Would he have kicked our ass? If we were communists and pro-Palestinian and flying Nazi swastika flags and getting tattooed love boy, what would that have done to us? What I'm saying is if you have somebody in your house who's saying that United States belongs to Mexico, maybe there's a time where you need to break off that family relationship. You could tell them you love them. You will always love them. But there comes a point, a division. Don't you think in the Revolutionary War, there was a time where family members had to cut it off?
Yeah.
For
So,
example, let's say you were Benedict Arnold's brother. Did you give Benedict Arnold a house to live in the United States? He had to move to Britain. He couldn't stay in the United States. You can't badmouth the United States and live in the United States. You have to move out. Didn't Ellen DeGeneres move out? And Rosie O'Donnell? That's what has to happen with all these people. If they don't love America, they have to go.
Now we're going to wrap it up. So just guys, if you go to Gateway Pundit, I smell CIA deep state. That's one where this girl,
Shanahan.
Robert Kennedy's former running mate, Nicole Shanahan, she quotes Deuteronomy: "Foreigners who live on your land will gain more and more power, while you gradually lose yours. They will have money to lend you, but you will have none to lend them. In the end, they will be your rulers." These words were written thousands of years ago, and they still hold true today. Isn't it interesting that this woman knows more about the Bible than the Jehovah's Witnesses? Wow.
And she's a Democrat.
She's a Democrat. And the other thing I want to recap, just for the record, before we go, is that J.W. Cart witnessing at the LA riots, this is not a true picture. It was altered just a little bit of the Jehovah's Witnesses out there, but damn it, that's a very good picture. The Jehovah's Witnesses out there at the LA riots, telling everybody to wait on Jehovah. So I think that was it. I think we clarified those last 2 points. That was pretty good. J.W. Cart witnessing at the LA riots. I think a lot of people got upset because they really wanted it to be true.
Hey, Gilbert, and it's funny because JP, I'm not blaming him for Gavin Newsom. I'm saying in general terms, the state,
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not going to hold him, and the same thing we were saying about JW.org. We know that JW.org is not responsible for the rioting going on in LA, but they didn't do anything to help. By waiting on Jehovah, they're not fixing their neighborhood. They're not fixing their street.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Going to what Kat B says, she's right. This is a worldwide issue, especially in Western countries. We are called racist. If we complain, they do not want to assimilate. No, yeah, she's right. Well, the problem is there has to be an adult in the room. Like you said, there has to be an adult in the room with a belt saying, no, we need to open up a can of whoop-ass. You're wrong. You're a petulant child. This doesn't make sense. This is wrong. This is only going to destroy our country. And people need to be perp walked. They need to go to jail for their crimes. So she's absolutely right on this, that this is a big problem. But it's also because when you let people whine and cry, then this is what happens. No, we're not going to let Mexicans and foreign nationals from other countries who are being paid off by the George Soros run around burning cars with their motorcycles, raising the American flag as if they have victory over America. No. And we're not racist for saying it.
But you know what? We live in such dangerous times. Look at what happened in the insurrection, J6. We have to be very shrewd. You have to be very... When you're in a protest, you can get killed at any time. When you're in a battle, you can get killed at any moment. And that's what we are. We're in a spiritual struggle. Look at what happened to the J6. The Democrats and the communists and Antifa and the Black Lives Matter were burning all these cities. The Republicans had one rally on January 6th, and we got labeled for the rest. It destroyed everything. That's what I'm saying. Something so insignificant got turned over. We have to be very smart. That's why Martin Luther King was such a great American. He told everybody about nonviolence, nonviolence, nonviolence. He understood if one black person defended himself, they were going to blame all black people as violent. Martin Luther King understood that. He wasn't stupid. He was smarter than everybody else. Say, be nonviolent, be nonviolent. The second you stand up, they're going to use that against you. For example, look at all the illegal aliens who are throwing rocks. You got that video, they're throwing rocks. Imagine, let's say 1 million illegal aliens in California throw rocks. Now, change it. One Republican throws one rock at an illegal alien. Every news reporter in the world will report that Republicans are racist. We have to be better than them.
They are enemy of the people. Watchtower and the religions, many religions, are enemy of the people. I'll say it. And I'm not bashing religions, but there's a lot of religions like Watchtower. They are an enemy of Christianity. They do more harm than good. The CNN is an enemy of the people. NBC, ABC, CBS, they are enemies of the people. Whereas YouTube, at least they allow private citizens to report and allow the First Amendment to inform the people. Did you see? You're enjoying the movie. That's where we kind of disagree with Jimmy, but we love. Hold on, but we love the fact. I mean, look at what Jimmy just said right there.
Sorry. I'm slow. I didn't understand.
He is more in line with Shanahan, what we just quoted right now in that Gateway Pundit article.
Nicole Shanahan, yes.
Yeah, so she's more, she was kind of describing what this comment is right there. But yeah. Well, yeah, I would say that the majority of religions were created to divide and control. But I do believe that the less centralized control you get when it comes to religion, when it's just your neighborhood, there's a lot of them out there. Like where you lived at, Jesse, the next street over, there was a nice, beautiful little white church, independent. So America, when you look behind me, was built by just small little churches. But then what happens? One gobbles up another, and then you have monopolies. The Catholic Church is a monopoly. The Jehovah's Witness monopoly. But when you have all of these little churches, just independents, all by themselves, then guess what? Jimmy's comment right there is not true. But it is true because that's what we have. We have monopolies in religion. They're not really religions. They're monopolies. They're dinosaurs. So, I mean, I do agree with what he says, but I do believe that there's still a big number of independents, and that's wherein lies the answer. Oh yeah, yeah, right there. So, but I lost my train of thought when he came in. Oh, the poll. Did you see the poll? Somebody broke, man. Somebody broke rank, but we were at 96%.
That's good, because look, we're Americans and we've been assimilated. We're not communist Mexican Americans. We're not communist Cubans, Venezuelans. We're not. We believe in an open debate, and we don't want to win 100%. Then we would be like Xi Jinping, or we would be like Mao Zedong. They win by 100%. We want a little bit of backstabbing, a little bit of ruthless scrambling to get to the top. We want a little bit of cutting people under on the knees. We wanted that 4% vote. We wanted to win in a landslide like Donald Trump, but we don't want to win 100%. We want to give some to the low IQ. We want to put the low IQ in a pedestal, like in a museum, so everybody remembers them. Yeah. Hey Gilbert, but let me say something in defense of religion. I will always defend religion. Down the street, about 3 blocks from my house, is the Catholic Church. I see, and you and I were baptized as babies, and then we left. Mom and Dad left the church. We became Jehovah's Witnesses, so we never knew the Catholic Church. But when I go to the Catholic Church there, they treat me like family. They treat me, and I see all the kids in the neighborhood. We're all 50 years old now. We were always, we went to school, we played baseball together, we grew up in Yuma, and it's almost like family. And I go to communion, but I'm not a member of the church. I just go, I sit down, I pray, I shut up. And I love being there. I really love being there. But there is a power. I agree with Jimmy. There's a power control over people with religion. If you could just go and be spiritual at a church without having to be controlled, that would be the ideal thing. But that's not reality. Reality is, for some reason, we like to control other people's lives.
Yeah, because look at the human. I know Jimmy and Julie and all those guys. They would love to go to a place where you could actually worship God, like listen to a Mahalia Jackson, right? Thing, Elijah Rock or something, or How I Got Over. Beautiful. And then you go home after a good dinner. But you're right. There's always that sense of, you have to toe the line, the company line. But men want to worship God. But yeah. And then also, why is it that everybody lives, not everybody, the great majority of Americans right now are living in slum housing, right? Bad housing everywhere. But the nice buildings are always government buildings and churches. I'm just saying.
Not no more, Gilbert. Hold on.
Okay.
The dynamic has changed. If you drive into Yuma, for example,
you
see all these new buildings, all these beautiful buildings with neon lights. What are they?
I know marijuana dispensaries
and hospitals.
Oh, hospitals, yeah,
and clinics, medical clinics. You drive into Yuma now, and you see all these neon lights, and you think you're driving into Disneyland, and it's not. It's all fucking hospitals. Yeah. When we were kids in Yuma, there was only one doctor's office and one hospital.
Yeah, but I'm going to answer this question: why do I need to go somewhere to worship God if I have a personal relationship with Him? Because it's always better to worship God, in my opinion. It's an opinion, but it's by yourself. But it's always great when there's a whole bunch of people and you do it together, like and like I was mentioning, you go to a church and you sing beautiful like choir music or something, but then you go home. So it's all good. And if you want to do it by yourself too, that's fine. That's good too. But everybody knows that this great country was built because everybody would go on Sunday and they would worship God. I know I saw it in the movies, but in all seriousness, it's beautiful. And when it's done, good things happen. The problem again is always centralized control. That's always
look. And here's another thing.
The last one was question: if folks support and defend man-made religion, what role does spirituality play in one's life?
Gilbert, this is what I'm going to ask you a couple questions before you
Okay.
go on to that. In the last 10 years, look at me. The last 10 years, how many times have you been to church?
Maybe once a year.
Okay. Prior to that, when you were a Jehovah's Witness, how many times did you go to church?
Oh, God, too many times.
Okay.
Like 3 times a week.
Thousands and thousands. Okay. Since you left the Jehovah's Witness, you've probably been to church 10 times in the last 10 years. But nobody on YouTube in the ex-Jehovah's Witness community talks more about Jesus than you and I.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last 10 years, we've probably only been to church 10 times and 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
So we agree with Jimmy in our actions, but we never stop talking about the things we saw. We agree with you about our church. We're with you. We're almost identical to Jimmy in that we don't believe we can't. We find it hard to be a members of any church, man-made church, 501c3. We agree with you on that. But we'll never stop teaching about Jesus, the things that he taught us.
Correct. And the last one was, didn't Jesus worship his Father by himself many
times? That's what we're saying, yes.
Yes, but he also did it in group form. So it's all good. There's no right way, wrong way. It's your way. It's whatever you want to do. Yeah.
But listen, but I will agree with Jimmy on this, and I think it goes to the essence, and I think you would say it, that when we were Jehovah's Witness, Gilbert, a lot of us ex-Jehovah's Witness, like Jimmy Bell and myself and you, and they burned us so much. We're afraid to be a member of any church.
Well, a 501c3 for sure. Like that's number one. If I was part of a church that just had a collection box in a Nike shoe box, and we kept under $1,000 in the shoe box and helped, our local neighbors. Yeah. I've seen people do that. Yeah. I could go for that.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. It's like everything, why do, that's what one of our problems we have in America is it's the monopoly factor. People have these, a business, churches and everything, even in your business, people are trying to buy you out. That the people that you buy from have been bought out, so you see it. It's just a monopolization. And so religion is no different. Religion is just a beast that keeps being fed and it just becomes a dinosaur. So I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's right there where he says he's awake to the BS. Yes. It's kind of like the that Who song, "We Won't Be Fooled Again." Yeah, because we got fooled hard.
Yeah. But I'm just going to say that there are still people out there. They're a minority, but they're true independents. And I'm not going to.
Remember that video you did when you first left Watchtower? When you called yourself Watchtower's bitch? Remember you were lying in bed? You were lying in bed and you were just realizing that you were Watchtower's bitch.
Well, see, because what happens is I was listening to Dean Martin's song. And guess what? I was a trailblazer, Jesse, because before Watchtower changed their beard policy, remember Watchtower had a beard policy? It was no beards. And then I, being the GGB member that I am, had a beard. And then I shaved it once they changed their policy. Do not attempt this at home, right? Oh yeah, do not attempt to watch this video. So I have to give a warning to the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Did you like that?
Oh, hold on.
I wonder.
You can't hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
Who's kissing her now?
You can hear it?
Yes.
Dean Martin, I wonder who's kissing her now. You have a old girlfriend, old wife, or whatever, and man, who's kissing her now?
I can't hear it.
Does she tell him of me? No.
I can hear perfect.
And in my Declaration of Independence, I explained how
chat?
Watchtower is the level, and I was.
Can you guys hear it in the chat?
I was Watchtower's biatch.
See?
Oh man, and it's so hard. You just gotta accept it. It's like, dude, I was Watchtower's biatch, And I put on a coat and tie
black
and
hair too.
peddle their magazines, and I was her biatch. She was my girlfriend, man. She was a terrible lover. And it's like Dean Martin says, man.
It's great, Gilbert.
She's kissing some other people, man.
She's kissing
some
other
other
people.
buddy's giving the speeches. Somebody else is up on the stage. Somebody else is with my woman,
Song, yeah. I can't hear. Okay.
She's kissing somebody else, man. And nobody knows who the hell I was. All those years of service, man. Like, who the hell's that guy? Oh, man. I wonder who's kissing her now, man.
Who's kissing her
Watchtower, you got.
That's the song.
Watchtower.
Like Dean Martin.
Watchtower. You had a meltdown.
I was Watchtower's bitch.
You were Watchtower's bitch.
I was Watchtower's bitch.
You were Watchtower's bitch.
I was Watchtower's bitch. I was kissing her now, man. I tell you what, she was a good kisser. Watchtower, she was a good kisser, man. But shit, she's dirty.
She's dirty. You were right, dirty.
I wonder who's kissing her now.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man. There's so many people.
So many people. You were a hardcore elder.
I wonder who's kissing her now. Oh man, shit. I guess everybody's somebody's biatch at some time in their lives,
Somebody, sometime.
Well, that's what happens when you have an old girlfriend. Well, it's good. It's a learning experience.
It was a learning
that was
experience.
funny. All right, I gotta go.
That's me, and I'm Maria Francisacli. Yeah. I am Gilbert Gonzalez.
I'm Maria Francisacli.
You know who Maria Francisacli is, right? Russell's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow, I couldn't hear it.
Gilbert, this is what we're saying in California, that Shaq took a little bit of offense to us. See, you and I went through this. We had a meltdown because we were hardcore elders, but we accepted our role in teaching lies. Like Jimmy says, I'm about the BS. Yeah, but we used to sell that propaganda. We used to sell Watchtowers for 25 cents all of our lives. We were Watchtower's bitch. And we confessed to ourselves, and now we could start rebuilding. That's what the people of California, you're Gavin Newsom's bitch. California, Governor Newsom is the globalist bitch. He's the United Nations bitch. He's not America first. And so everybody in California needs to have a come to Jesus moment. You're American, not Mexican, bitch.
Yeah. That's not, yeah. Man, I forgot. That was a good one. Yeah, I was listening to that Dean Martin song, and I was like, oh shit. Instead of thinking of a past girlfriend, I thought what this guy had said. Watchtower gave you the wrong kind of dog. Yeah. Wow. Well, hey man, that's a. So.
Yeah. Look, Jimmy says a very powerful. Yes, right there. That's true. If we sow propaganda, we should be able to recognize it. That's why we're always cautious on everything, on every politician, on everything, even on Donald Trump, on Elon Musk, on everybody. We don't trust nobody. You have to verify everything. Even the Bible says that, to test every spirit. The half-brother of Jesus Christ told us that, James, the disciple, to trust every spirit. Not trust every spirit, I'm sorry, test every spirit.
Great.
That's it.
Was it you that, yeah. Was it you that was talking about propaganda to me yesterday, or somebody was talking to me about propaganda? That was
me.
Yeah, in the World War II, that was the word that was used. So they had to come up with a new word. I forget what the new word is for propaganda today.
Bruce Springsteen?
No, it's a certain it's a common word that people use to talk about so I forget, but propaganda it's still around today, but they changed the words because this is what the government does. They change words.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a word, I forget what it is. I had to go back and look at it, find out what it is. But
Mhm.
the old, they had to, propaganda had gotten a bad name. So then they had to make it
Jimmy said, could it be psyops?
something, no, but something like that. I forget what it was.
How about sales?
No. Like, man, I can't remember who I was talking to. They were, but people were getting wise to the government propaganda, so they changed the word, and it's and that's all. But going back to what he says, if we were sold propaganda, then we should be able to recognize it. And
Yes.
and one way to recognize it, and it's Rush Limbaugh taught us.
Hey, disinformation?
No, Rush Limbaugh said, words mean things.
Yeah, words mean things. Yes.
And this is what we saw today with the LA riots. Words mean things. You have to listen to what Newsom is saying, Donald Trump, everybody's saying. Words mean things. And there's a group of people that get a word and they like to change the word. They're always inverting the truth. And like Jesse says, that's what demons do. They get the lie and they try to make it into a light form.
And the argument too. For example, the argument that we have in California right now is over illegal immigration and deportation. Governor Newsom brought in 4-year-old children. See, he's changing the subject. He's saying now, okay, well, who's against 4-year-old children? Nobody's against 4-year-old children. You see how he's trying to take control of the argument? The argument is over illegal immigration and whether we're going to have rules of laws or not. Governor Newsom tactfully says 4-year-old children. And so he tugs at the heartstrings of people, of weak-minded people who will fall to his propaganda. It's not about 4-year-old children. It's whether we have a nation of laws or not.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, real good, Gilbert. We're coming in on my battery's about to die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I don't think it's public opinion is the word. I got to find out, and I'll let you know. We could probably talk about it in the next video, or I'll tell Jimmy Bell on Tuesday.
So it replaced propaganda.
Yeah, there's a different word, and I'm trying to find it here. But it's still propaganda, but it's disguised as a different word.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's public opinion. I got to find out. Somebody was talking to me about it. It was a really interesting conversation. But it was just that they use, they're constantly changing the words. It's the light of the devil, right? The light that he shines. And they're always saying gay and now it's gay, right? That's all they do. It's like the Jehovah's Witness new light. New light means new Jesus. Jesus is the light, the truth. Jesus is the truth. They're always changing the meaning of words.
Well, that's classic Marxism.
Yes.
Yeah.
But okay, I think that's it.
Yeah.
So we're at 94%. 94% said that yes, Jehovah's Witnesses do support illegal immigration. That was a good poll. So we'll see you guys next week, and don't forget, we'll be on Jimmy's show on Tuesday. Make sure everybody's there on the chat, participating, and we're gonna have a good time. And we'll see what happens because this also, I think Jimmy and others alluded to it. What's going to happen this week that we're not going to know about because, say, the riots get a lot of attention. What's going to happen in Ukraine? What's going to happen in the stock
market? That's a good question for Jimmy.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, Jimmy, if you're still there, do you think you're going to hit the riots a lot?
Yeah, and where are they going to be hiding the news? Like, what's going to be put on page 11, right?
It's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Is there going to be a monetary problem on Monday, Tuesday? And like Gerald Celente says, when all else fails, they take you to war. So that way you don't know what's happening to your money.
Yeah. Hence, what Jimmy said about the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's where I put the C. Okay, we'll close with that. That's why I put down when he said about the movie. Go to the Gateway Pundit, and Shanahan talks about that. I smell a CIA deep state all over this, like a movie, right? So this is a very good article.
That was a very good article, Nicole Shanahan.
Yeah, And so she's saying pretty much the same thing Jimmy Bell, it's just different words. But yeah, that this is not what you think it is. This is
yeah. She smells a rat.
Yeah, she smells a rat.
Okay. All right.
All right. We'll see you later. And I hope you guys liked that video. I was Watchtower's biatch. That was great. Thank you, Jesse, for doing that. And we'll see you guys on Tuesday in the chat section and with Jimmy Bell and Ruby Quinn. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. We'll see you next week if we're still alive.